Police officers stabbed inside HMP Frankland prison. Now, this is breaking news. I've just found out about it. It's all over the media at the minute. It's in the local papers. It's on the BBC News, the Sky News, the whole 9 yards, because this is breaking news. But I'm going to break it down to you what has actually happened inside Frankland prison. So this morning, a police officer on a legal visit, visiting an inmate, has been stabbed 3 times in the chest with an improvised makeshift weapon. Now, for this to have happened on a legal visit, there'll be absolute uproar inside the prison with the security staff, because something like this should never have happened inside of a high security prison. But this obviously was a planned attack, because why else would the inmate have a makeshift weapon on a visit when he's getting visited off a police officer? Now, I'll just break down here for the viewers that don't understand exactly what a legal visit is, for the ones that haven't been to prison. A legal visit is either when your solicitor, probation, or police officers are coming to speak to you either about what's going on in your sentence, talk to you about an ongoing case, which seems to be the instance in this case. So obviously the police can come up and question you on a visit. I remember when I was in Home House and the police came up to interview me about an offence. So the police can come into the visitor room, and they've got separate side room visits for legal visits. Obviously, so the other inmates who are having visits can't hear exactly what's going on with your visit, in case, obviously, it's a private matter with your solicitor, or when the police are speaking about cases or whatever they've come up for. Now, I do know that this inmate is from F Wing, which is the normal location wings. So I'll give you a little bit of a rundown about the layout of Frankland prison and the different wings. So the normal location wings in Frankland prison are F, G and J. And these wings are at the top end of the prison. So as you come into the prison, obviously I'm talking from experience when I was in there myself, as you come out of reception down near where the gym is, you've got the VP wings, which is the bacon wings or the beast wings, whichever you prefer to call them. And there's A, B, C and D. And these all house the VP inmates. And the VP inmates are the ones that are in for S offences or similar type of offences. Ones that can't be mixed with general population lads because of what they're in for, and the general population lads will not tolerate them type of offenders. Obviously, that's why they're segregated from each other. So as you walk up through the prison, you've got F, G and J, got built maybe around about 15 years ago, which is the newest wing in the prison. And you've also got Westgate, which is just further up from F and G wing. And Westgate is a pipes unit, which is a PD, a DPSD, I think they call it. Dangerous Personality Disorder Wing. Well, that's what it stands for. Anyways, so that is mixed. The Westgate unit has people from normal location and the VP wings, and they're on there getting treated for their dangerous personality disorders. So someone from F Wing has went down on the legal visit this morning, and at first when I heard about it, and I heard that it was a screwdriver or an improvised screwdriver that was used, I was thinking, how could he have gotten that on a visit? Because when you leave your wing, doesn't matter which wing you're on in the prison, when you leave that cell block and you're walking out the gates or out the main door to that cell block, you get searched off the officers. You get patted down. They've got a metal detector wand where they wand your whole body before you even leave the wing. So this is how I was thinking to myself, well, how come he's left the wing with that screwdriver? The only thing, the conclusion that I've come to is that this makeshift weapon, this improvised screwdriver, has been made out of hardened plastic, because the toilet brushes in prison are very, very hard, cheap plastic, but very hard, and these get sharpened down into a spike, and it's a very dangerous instrument once it's sharpened up. So that is probably what's been used for him to be able to get that past all the security and get on the visit. Because once you get down the visit room, you get put in a main waiting hall in the visits area. There might be around about 10 people waiting to go on a visit. They shout you in one by one, and you get strip searched before you go on the visit. So you've got to take your top half of your clothing off. The screw pats you down. Take the bottom half of your clothing off, so you put your t-shirt back on. Then you've got to take your bottom half of your clothing on, turn around, squat down a little way to make sure you haven't got anything on you. So again, I'm coming to the conclusion that he's had it cheeked in between his butt cheeks, and he's had this makeshift plastic weapon. That's probably how he's getting it in. Because again, you get wanded down, or sometimes on the visitor room, they've got a metal detector that you have to walk through. I know they have it on the outside of the visits for the visitors, but they do have them in certain prisons on the inside where the inmate has to walk through it. And obviously, if you get anything on you, it will beep. So again, for him to get past all of this security with that makeshift weapon, there's going to be some serious questions asked today inside of that prison. I can just imagine the governors, or especially the security governors in the prisons, are going off their heads trying to find out how a police officer has managed to be stabbed up inside of a high security prison. And that's the reason why this has got the headlines all over. Breaking news, police officer stabbed inside the prison. But when I found this information out, I thought I would bring it straight to your attention. Obviously, this is a prison channel. Everybody loves to hear the prison news. And sometimes I do find out a lot of things about prison that don't hit the mainstream media. But this is one of the ones that's all over the mainstream media at the minute. It's give a little breakdown about what's happened, but it didn't go into much detail. And obviously, with me being an ex-inmate of Frankland prison, I thought I would give you a rundown about the ins and outs of how it works inside the prison. But whilst I'm on the subject, I will make this video a little bit longer and go off topic and speak a bit about some of the incidents that happened whilst I was in there and some of the incidents that happened after I was in there, because I know a lot of you watching my channel like the longer videos. So when I was in Frankland 2007 up until 2010, spent 3 years in there, and 3 years inside of a high security prison, you do see a lot of action in them 3 years. Some people say, I've heard people refer on the channel before or in the comments saying 3 years is nothing in a high security prison. I'm telling you now, 3 years inside of a high security prison is a long time to witness and see the dynamics of these prisons and what actually goes on. Because Frankland prison is one of the most dangerous prisons in the UK, along with Full Sutton, Wakefield, Whitemoor and Long Lawton. All of them 5 dispersal prisons, high security prisons, are the most dangerous in England. Along with the other categories, which is Woodhill and Belmarsh, these are the prisons that have the most violence. They might not be the prisons that have the most incidents as on a daily basis, because the category C prisons have the most incidents on a daily basis because they're full of lads that are either doing short sentences, lads that have, may you say, have got nothing to lose, and lads that are fucking off their heads constantly. So there's fighting on a daily basis. But in the high security prisons, they're more relaxed, they're more chilled back. But when the violence erupts and goes off, it goes off big style. And when I say a big style, incidents like what happened today to our police officer, people are getting stabbed up, they're getting hot oil tipped over them, they're getting their eyes stabbed out, some of them are losing their lives, some of them's been disemboweled inside of prison. An inmate inside of Frankland on the VP wings got disemboweled of 2 of the inmates, and they took him in the pad, took him hostage, cut his insides open, or cut his stomach open, pulled his insides out. Their plan was to eat his liver, but they actually pulled all of his intestines out. And when they were just about to eat his liver, they decided not to. People would say they bottled it. Bottled it means at the last moment, you didn't do it. So they didn't do it at the last moment. They went out onto the landing, told the officers what they'd just done. The officers went into the room and witnessed the horror that was in front of them. Imagine going in there, the inmate is lying on the floor, stomach open, everything pulled out. And as you can imagine, the officers were off on sick leave for quite a while after that through trauma for what they'd witnessed. And some of the incidents that happened whilst I was in there, I've referred to this at the start of my channel a couple of years ago when I started talking about the stories about Frankland prison. I seen a terrorist getting hot oil tipped over his head on the second day that I was in that prison. That terrorist was Darren Barrett, serving a 40-year sentence, and he was serving life with a minimum of 40 years. Someone come up behind him in the kitchen with a pan of hot oil, tipped it over the back of his head, and his head, all of his skin and his hair peeled off, and it was just dripping off in front of my eyes. I witnessed all of that. Then a few weeks later, I seen another inmate get stabbed in the neck with a coffee jar full of chili powder. I seen another inmate get stabbed with a big 10-inch spike, running up the walkway on the way back to work, on the way back to the workshop, because obviously when you go to work inside of prison, you go on the mornings, then on the afternoons you leave the wing and you go back to work. This one was actually on the way back from the workshops. He'd obviously getting the spike from the workshops, and he ran up behind him, stuck it in his neck and just carried on running. The blood was squirting out of the lad's neck. He didn't even know what was going on. And the lad that done it was away back to the wing before he even knew what was happening. But these are the type of incidents that are happening in the high security prisons, and all of the murders that have happened in prison. If you Google it, type in murder inside of prison in the UK, all of the murders that have happened have been in these high security prisons. Yeah, so that is what goes on in the high security prisons and the dynamics of it. But I just thought I would add a little bit extra on at the end of that story, just to let you know exactly what the high security prisons are like. But I'll leave that one there for now, people. Hopefully you are enjoying the content. But remember to comment, like, and subscribe. I've got loads of more stories coming up because, as you can imagine, this channel will be running forever. You never run out of prison stories because every day, on a daily basis, there's different things happening in and out of the prison system. But like I say, I'll get all these headlines pop through on my News Prison app, and I will be keeping you updated to what's actually going on because a lot of you love listening to the prison stories. But I'll leave that one there for now, people. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day.